Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to do a C-PTSD, PTSD, BPD rant, where I just speak my truth because I am so frustrated trying to figure all three of these things out. And I'm just like, is this some kind of cruel joke? Like, who came up with the idea to have all of these? So it's like C-PTSD is related to PTSD, but C-PTSD is related to BPD, borderline personality disorder. So it's like both disorders want a piece of borderline personality disorder, and then both of them can claim to be the other. So with PTSD, I've read that sometimes they don't want to differentiate between PTSD and C-PTSD. They want to kind of make them one and the same. But then complex post-traumatic stress disorder can look like borderline personality disorder, or at least when I read some people's descriptions, they look like the same or similar things. If they are different diagnosis, then I want to see a different diagnosis, which is why I recently created videos on them. Don't know which one I'm going to release first, this one or those. So I released videos just trying to make sense of the difference between BPD and C-PTSD, because I feel like if you're giving them different names, then they better be different. They better be different. They better have some differences. Otherwise, what is the point? Why are we creating new titles if something is exactly the same? Can somebody please make up their mind? And what also frustrates me is maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me and I'm not focused when I'm reading or when I'm watching videos, but it seems like every time I watch somebody's videos, it's not just that I'm learning something new. I feel like everybody's talking about something different. So I can't really get a handle. It's like, can I read something that's the same? Every time I read an article, there's something in it that I'm like, okay, I'm reading an article about PTSD and C-PTSD. And it just seems like I can read a million articles and they're all saying different things. Same thing with BPD and C-PTSD. And I've spent more time trying to figure those two things out. And it just seems like every time I watch a video, it's totally different from another video that I've watched. I've seen people speak on the topic, have 2-hour-long videos. And then I've seen people have really short videos. But whenever I read an article, it's like I'm reading something different. I'm like, can I read something that's the same? If they're the same thing, then why are we calling them different things? I want some differentiation, and that's what I tried to do with my video. I just kind of stopped reading. I stopped watching videos, and I, just kind of took some pieces of some things that really stuck with me and said, okay, this is what the difference is. But then if you start reading too much or watching too many videos, then they start being the same thing. So I'm like, is one better than the other? Not that having any type of diagnosis is better than the other one, but one might be easier to cope with than the other. Are they all created by the same thing? I don't know if I can even explain my irritation and frustration. I think personally, to be super honest, and I'm driving right now and I'm passing by a truck and it says HMMM, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel. Like, what is the difference? Is there a difference? Was somebody bored and they just wanted to come up with something, or they wanted to be like, look at me? And then I was reading that BPDs don't want to be stigmatized. They are thinking about putting BPD under C-PTSD, but the personality is impacted. the skeletal makeup is impacted by BPD. So to just group it into an anxiety disorder, whether or not you want to be stigmatized or not, the personality disorder still stands. And, I heard someone recently say that even though you may not have caused your own problem, you're still responsible for solving it, healing it. And that's a harsh reality. I think about my imperfect self, and I think about experiences that I've had that weren't so great, that were difficult, but then I'm stuck with having to heal it. But that's the truth. Like, nobody else can heal it but me, There goes another truck that says, HMM. So I'm telling y'all, I'm irritado. And I don't know if that's a word, but I'm irritado. And you probably don't want to hear me rant, but I want to know, does anybody else feel the same way? Or does everybody think they've got this thing on lock? Like,
I got this. You're the one that's confused, Tamara. We're not.
We get this. This makes perfect sense to me. Well, then, can somebody explain it to me in a way that it makes sense to me? It's like the puzzle pieces keep moving around. They don't stay in the same spot. I think, to be truthful, and something I don't talk about much, I definitely think I've had borderline personality disorder influences, and I think I've definitely had complex PTSD influences. Or have I had one influence and not the other? Because right now in my mind, C-PTSD is about fear response. It's about feeling safe. Borderlines, it's more abandonment. And to make things more complex, of course, you can swap these two, but for the most part, that is what I'm sticking with right now, because I'm tired of being confused. So me personally, I have moments where I struggle with trusting people, or I'm overthinking, or I'm a little bit overly concerned with safety, and then I start to realize, these people are actually nice. You can let your guard down. You don't have to have your boxing gloves up. It's like either my boxing gloves up or my hand is covering my face. Like, don't hit me. You know what I'm saying? Like, super fight, flight. And I just spend a lot of time kind of trying to fake it and just be cool and be nice and be friendly and be bubbly and get along with people and be kind and just lead with that. I've always said that I was Enneagram 4, which at the core of that is abandonment. But then I definitely have some Enneagram 6 traits as well, because they have issues with safety. I've had people who had borderline-ish tendencies or C-PTSD. Now I'm thinking it's more C-PTSD tendencies, where I'm like reading to them Enneagram 6 and they're like, oh, I totally relate to that. And then, I read their Myers-Briggs and nope, that doesn't sound like me, or I'm not connecting with Myers-Briggs at all. But then you read Enneagram 6 to somebody who's one of those diagnoses, and they're totally relating to the Enneagram 6, which has a ton to do with fear. I'm afraid. I need safety. Well, if one is more fear-based, one is more abandonment-based, okay. But like I said, my irritation is, even though I'm breaking it down that way, because I feel like, what is the point of creating titles and putting, if you're putting different titles on the same thing, what's the point? It needs to be different. It needs to be different in my mind. That's just how I feel. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Who is the guru of BPD, C-PTSD? I want to talk to those people. I mean, I'm sure I will be totally confused after talking to them, just like I am every time I read an article. I'm like, I'm about to not read any more articles or watch any more videos on C-PTSD at all, because like I said, I don't know if it's me, but I'm just not getting it. So help me. Does anybody else feel super irritated? Personally, if I'm understanding it the way that I'm understanding it, I think I would rather have a family member with C-PTSD, even though they can be really difficult too. And I'm sorry, BPDs don't like to be thought of as difficult, but I mean, it's part of it's part of the personality disorder. I'm sure a sad fact, but man, dealing with both people can be a very painful relationship with either one of those people. It would make me feel better for somebody to be C-PTSD if they truly can experience happiness. Sometimes I think borderlines can also experience happiness. Of course they can. But they can go into elated states of extreme euphoric happiness and dip down deep, low into the abyss. You know, nobody wants to think of anybody as being that miserable all the time. And that's what frustrates me about BPD is, you know, is there any part of the person that's ever happy, that's ever okay? Or is it living life with a constant struggle? Like, do they get a break from the disorder? It just seems so unfair. I know that I am not a borderline, but there are times when I do struggle with some abandonment issues, and that usually comes up in romantic relationships. Like, let's just end this because I cannot handle the intensity of that awful feeling. And I'm like, if a borderline feels that awful feeling all day long, every day with multiple people, I don't know how anyone can function feeling that way. So if anybody has a simple way that they can interpret or figure out complex C-PTSD, let me know in the comments. And I did what I feel like everybody else is doing. I created a video on C-PTSD versus borderline personality disorder, and I came up with my own rules, just like everybody else seems to be coming up with their own rules, because I don't see the level of consistency that I want to see, although maybe I'm just not paying attention well enough. But it's just, there's so much information and there's not a clear cut set of criteria that I can see. I need to look again through my DSM-5, but I don't think it's in there. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you feel the same frustrations, definitely share my channel and my videos with people that you know, because I just want to help. And I really appreciate you being such good listeners today as I ranted about my thoughts. So check out my book, The Workplace Narcissist. It's all about narcissism. It's going to give you some great information about those people as I felt my way through that. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.